The Tennis Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Open Occitanie. Sign up with the promo code SGPN to get 50% bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Edge Boost. Earn $750 per month on your sports gambling transactions with EdgeBoost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. A reminder that they are the leader in data-driven picks and props. Try it out for free for a week by going to sportsgambling.com, RATHMM. And welcome, everybody, to the Tennis Gambling Podcast from the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is currently Friday night, roughly 9 p.m. Eastern Time on January 31st. I'm Scott Reichel once again going solo for this pod. Time to get into the semifinals here in Montpellier. So we're going to get into two matches taking place on Saturday. Before that, though, do want to recap what happened last week, both for the actual lock and dog picks and for the matches on Friday. Starting off with the lock and dog picks, ended up splitting as we ended up having a loss with the lock. Had Greek Sport team total over at 12.5 at minus 140. Didn't get there. I'll go into a bit more detail on the match in a second. Pretty annoying loss, I'll put it that way. Greek Sport was serving better for most of the match, but it didn't matter anyway because he just kept punting away free points. Eventually did get broken in the second set, en route to a loss. So I picked up a loss there. However, did win the dog. We had Kovacevic to win the first set at plus 105 as he ended up beating Bublik in straight sets. Really never in doubt. Kovacevic broke immediately. Bublik double faulted left and right. Felt like he didn't want to be there, and Kovacevic was very dialed in from the get-go. Nice job by him. Did not get broken in the entire match, but either way, nice win for us. Really never in doubt. So nice win there for the dog. Now for the actual recap of the quarterfinals, starting off with the very anticlimactic start to the round, something we kind of predicted perfectly. We picked Felix to dominate against Bu as he won in straight sets. We thought it'd be a 6-4, 6-4 type matchup, and it was 6-3, 6-4. Close enough. I mean, Bu didn't really beat anybody. Ended up beating Lestien, ended up beating Altmaier. Two guys not known for their hard court skill set, and Felix is definitely a step up in competition as he ended up burying Bu. Served very well the entire match. In fact, Bu did not even have a break point in the entire match, but he ended up seeing Felix, who had 11 aces and no double faults. He won 83% of the first serve points and 73% of the second serve points. So either way, Felix served very well, and Bu had no answers. Nice, easy win there for him. Now, for the second match, we had the Greek Sport loss there to De Jong in straight sets. Thought the over was a good play. That got there at 22.5, but we did like Greek Sport team total over as the lock. Really annoying loss because Greek Sport in the first 20 games of the match, if you ignore the actual tiebreak, so 6-6 in the first set and 4-4 in the second set. 20 games. Greek Sport up to that point faced 0 break points, and De Jong faced 6. And Greek Sport lost in straight sets. So that's the only way we would have lost that one. We ended up calling a competitive first set. We got it, and then eventually Greek Sport gave mini break midway through. Did lose the breaker, and then eventually did end up getting broken in the end of the match as it got broken in the 4-4 game. Greek Sport, though, was just an absolute clown for the entire match. Really did nothing on the return, especially in the second set. He had 6 break points all in one game, actually, in the first set. But it felt like Greek Sport in every rally just eventually punted away the point, and De Jong kept the ball in play, limited the mistakes, and let, once again, Greek Sport self-destruct, and he did on a regular basis, as Greek Sport showed a lot of negative tennis IQ en route to a loss. So pretty annoying. Can't say it was really a bad read because we thought the match would be close, and we thought that Greek Sport would find a way over. If he wins a set, once again, minus 220 favorite. If he wins one set, we win. So not going to complain too much about it for the sake of the read, but still annoying when Greek Sport loses to an inferior opponent. And I'd say sabotage is the actual lock play instead. But either way, nice win for De Jong, making his first ever ATP semifinal. A reminder that he was pretty fortunate to be here as he ended up seeing Hallis get injured in the first match. So De Jong took that extra, I'd say, life and was able to carry it into the semis. We'll see if he can go beyond that on Saturday. Now, for the other matchups, ended up seeing Rublev leading 5-2, and Basilashvili got injured. So Rublev went up early. Basilashvili got hurt. I think it was the ankle, and Rublev won. So nothing else to add there. Once again, a pretty underwhelming anticlimactic finish to what could have been a fun match, but Rublev was up a break anyway. He was actually up 2 breaks. The point is Rublev was coasting, and Basilashvili decided, I can't continue, and he quit. For the last match, Kovacevic beat Bublik, a classic Bublik punch job. We haven't seen one of those in a week or two. Bublik ended up falling behind early. You saw Kovacevic hold, had a couple break points he fought off, and then eventually did win the first set. Bublik, though, ended up losing this game. I think he ended up getting broken twice on double faults on break points. Then Bublik ended up handing the racket over to one of the ball kids to play a point. So Bublik ended up basically punting the match and just trying to entertain the crowd. Had a couple underarm serves. I think one went for an ace. Point is, Bublik could tell early on he was trying, but Kovacevic definitely was making it difficult for him, and Bublik, instead of digging deep, decided to roll over and die. And he ended up losing pretty comfortably, as Kovacevic did beat him 6-3, 6-2. So overall, a good showing by him. A lot of really underwhelming tennis on Friday. You had, once again, the close straight set matchup between De Jong and Griekspoor with the upset. But all of the matches did not go to a deciding set. In fact, every match ended in straight sets, if you want to include the Rublev one, which ended in the middle of the first set. But a really underwhelming day and relatively drama-free day of tennis, and hopefully that does change here in the semis. See Ian stopping by. Thanks for stopping by again, Ian. Hopefully you do enjoy the show. But once again, a pretty lackluster day. Ended up getting some splits there for the actual favorites and dogs, as Felix won and Rublev won. Rublev didn't pay anything, though, because the first set wasn't even completed. But De Jong and Kovacevic were dogs. We did like the over in the De Jong match that got there, but Kovacevic would win. And, of course, we had the first set money line in that match, too. So, overall, a good day for the podcast, despite not hitting the lock. And hopefully we end up sweeping here on the Saturday matches. Now, before we get into the actual preview of the semifinal matches, I want to remind you once again that you can show support for the show by subscribing on YouTube. And a reminder, you can also leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. I think we're now across 740 on subscribers, trying to get to 800 by the end of February. So please help the cause. Please help, once again, spread knowledge about the podcast, and hopefully you can help us get to 800 in the near future. Podcast has been profitable throughout the last, pretty much since we started the show, especially since we did YouTube starting last year, and 2025 has been very good. So once again, if you do want to leave a comment showing that you like the show, or just leave a like and subscribe to the channel, that it definitely does help the show grow. Plus, a reminder, we also have audio-only versions of the podcast, which is edited by me as well. On Spotify or Apple, same content, but I am doing editing. If you do want to skip some of the ad read, stuff like that, you can fast forward that if you want to. Point is, though, if you want to leave a rating and review on Spotify or Apple, you can do so as well to show support for the show. Plus, a reminder, we also have merchandise in the SGPN merch store. So if you do want to check out some cheap merch, which is very comfortable as well, check out the merch store. We have tennis merch, whether it involves a mug, we have sweatshirts and t-shirts, different colors as well. All comfortable. Have a couple myself. Recommend getting something. And we have a great deal, once again, for the actual merch store, because if you use the promo code BIGGAME at checkout, you'll get a discount. And a reminder, SGPN also does have a great deal going on right now, a free contest, a free squares pool. If you do want to try out for the Super Bowl, $1,000 winner take all for the final score square. Go to sportscampus.com/squares to sign up today. sportscampus.com/squares. Reminder, we're also brought to you by EdgeBoost. SGPN has partnered up with EdgeBoost, the premier Visa debit card for bettors. EdgeBoost card will allow you to avoid the hassle of having your card denied at the sportsbook, DFS site, sweepstakes site, and once again, racetrack and casino. You can also earn up to $750 per month in cashback rewards for using the EdgeBoost card. And a reminder that your money is safe, as the card is FDIC insured. Best part, no credit card check, or no credit checks, and it's completely free. A reminder, though, when you do sign up today, use the promo code SGPN, so you automatically get better cash back rewards and instant tier 2 status. Edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. Edgeboost.bet, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by MyBookie. Reminder, MyBookie.ag has been around with SGPN for a long time. You can also use it to bet on every sport. They have props in every game, a live dealer casino. They also accept customers from a ton of locations and easy deposit with lightning fast payouts using crypto. You can also head to MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN, for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip. MyBookie.ag, promo code SGPN. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Just finished recapping what happened in the quarters on Friday. Time to move on into the two matchups for Saturday. First of all, I want to look into the comments section. Insano stopping by, John stopping by, Sean as well. Ian and Sean, do I ever bet challengers? Sometimes, when I'm bored enough. The truth is, if you want to hear a really degen story, we have two matches to get into. So we have some time. I used to be betting challengers a lot when I was in college. And there were a couple of lectures, I'll admit it, where I was sweating out challenger matches in the back of the lecture hall. So I have bet challengers before, back when I was even like 17 or 18. I still do it on occasion. You need the right angle. Like if I find a guy who's surging like a Fonseca type or a TN, maybe even a Basaveretti, you can find some openings. I don't bet it that often. I know I did win in a challenger live bet with Gigante last year in a clay final. I do it rarely. I'd say sometimes, but truth is, it's very unpredictable. You have a lot of guys who are either mentally checked out halfway through the portion of the match or even just potentially throw matches. But I think challengers are entertaining. Do I bet them sometimes? Not as much as you might think, but occasionally I'll bet them. So either way, to answer your question, sometimes but not often. Sean, I'm assuming you do, though, if I had to guess. John stopping by, though. Sean, thanks you for once again stopping by. Same to Insano. I know Insano's waiting for baseball season, but thank you for stopping off for tennis in the meantime. Anyway, getting into the matchups for the Saturday card. Starting off with, by the way, you have two massive favorites in this actual, I'd say, pair of matches. Felix is minus 525. De Jong is plus 420. And it's first ever ATP semi. Now, for the actual spread, Felix is minus 4.5. You have De Jong at plus 4.5. The over-under in games is set at 21.5. Slight juice, though, to the under. The over is even money of 420.5. The over is minus 135. For the set spread, you have straight sets for Felix at minus 170. You have De Jong to win a set of plus 140. The over 2.5 sets is a plus 195. Now, Felix has been really good so far in 2025. We saw him win an event in Adelaide, and then we saw him lose in the second round to Fokina in the Australian Open. Was up 2-0, though. Then he kind of fell apart. So he hasn't playing well so far this year. In fact, he's currently quietly 7-1 so far in 2025. Now, he ended up beating Kaza in straight sets in the first round, ended up beating Bu in the second match here in straight sets. As for De Jong, once again, pretty lucky to be here as Hallis got injured in the first match, and he ended up capitalizing on that. But either way, point is Felix is a massive favorite. As I'll give props to De Jong, though. He served well. He's played very well so far. But can he handle Felix on indoor hard courts, which is his specialty? Probably not. If I had to go for, I'd say, a prediction, I think it's pretty similar to the Bu match we saw on Friday. I think that De Jong might force a breaker, maybe a 7-5, but I think Felix wins in straight sets. I think De Jong is, once again, less talented than Felix. Yes, he will stick with the same game plan. He will try to force unforced errors from the opponent by trying to keep the ball in play. But unlike Griekspoor, I think Felix is in better form, and I think Felix's serve has been phenomenal. De Jong did nothing in terms of returning for the first basically hour and change of the matchup. Then he eventually did get the break because you ended up seeing a lot of unforced errors from Griekspoor in that 4-4 game, was punting points left and right. He clearly was just fed up and wanted out, so he ended up quitting basically. But De Jong didn't threaten at all in most of the return games, and Felix did not face a break point in the match against Bu. I think it's going to be tough for De Jong to actually, I'd say, find break points in this matchup. I think Felix should look good throughout, and Felix, I think, is good enough to find a break at some point in the matchup. Maybe I'm wrong and ends up going 3, but in reality, Felix should win this one. I think Felix is better. And De Jong, I wonder about nerves. Yes, he's playing with house money, quote-unquote. It's still his first ever ATP semi, and I do think Felix will look sharp here. Once again, a bit of a revenge tour for Felix as he lost in the semis last year. He can, once again, kind of have some revenge by beating this guy in the semis en route to a potential title. But either way, point is Felix, I think, should win in straight sets. Minus 170, though, is a bit expensive, so I don't mind the De Jong team total under 9.5. Yes, a breaker could happen, but if Felix does serve first in a set, you have a 6-3 draw with one break, which definitely works to the benefit of the team total under. Give me Felix, though, to win straight sets. I think he'll get the job done in this one. Moving on to the next matchup, you have what should be the match of the day. No offense to De Jong. But Kovacevic has been really good, and Rublev has played well in a very limited, I'd say, sample so far in the event. Rublev, though, is minus 385. Kovacevic is plus 315. For the spread, minus 3.5 for Rublev, plus 3.5 for Kovacevic for the over-under. Games are at 22.5 for the set over-under. You have the over the over is plus 150 for the over 2.5 sets. For the set spread, it's minus 115 both ways for Rublev to win straight sets and Kovacevic to win a set. Now, Kovacevic has been really good so far in 2025, and if you actually want to go back to the last couple of months, he's won 11 of his last 12. So that's why we ended up backing him in some capacity against Bublik on Friday. He looked great. He dropped one set to Goffin in the first round, went through qualifying, and went through the last 2 rounds without dropping a set. So he's been playing great tennis, probably the best tennis of his career. And the one-handed backhand, the serve, and even the drive volley has been very effective for Kovacevic. He's found a nice balance between his overall firepower and, I'd say, calculated risks, which have gotten him in a good offensive position in a lot of rallies. But Rublev, is a different animal. We know Rublev, when he's on, is a top 10 caliber player in the world. He's ranked 10 for a reason. It's been a long time since Rublev has shown that form, but so far in this hardcourt indoor event, he's looked good. Now, Eubanks, I don't think it's really worth a damn, but it is a tough court to actually break, and Eubanks is a good server, and Rublev was able to break him multiple times to win in straight sets. Then Basilashvili was up 2 breaks in the first set, so he was playing well. Yes, it's a pretty lucky draw having Basilashvili in the quarterfinals, but still, a win's a win nonetheless. So Rublev, I think, should be a massive favorite, because you're basically daring Kovacevic to rise to the occasion. He beat Bublik, but Bublik, we know, can check out of any match when he wants to, and Bublik clearly did not want to actually push himself once Kovacevic got up to an early lead. So, don't get me wrong, good win against Bublik, but Bublik I'll take with a grain of salt because he has not played well for the last couple of months, and it looked like he wanted nothing to do with this matchup. Now, Bellucci ended up beating in straight sets, beat Goffin in 3, who was in really bad form entering the event, beat Busta in qualifying, so once again, he's played well. Now, for the matchup, the question is, do I think Kovacevic will find enough openings to, I'd say, force the anger management Rublev to appear again, where Kovacevic can frustrate Rublev, maybe he breaks a racket, maybe he slams it against his knee again. But the point is, can Kovacevic do enough to frustrate Rublev to find an opening and maybe to create some mental doubt in Rublev's head? He might be able to. The issue, though, is that Rublev has a lot of firepower, too, and I think Rublev is the better rallier out of the two of them. So Kovacevic, I think, will have to serve well if he wants to have any chance in this matchup. The kick serve out wide, maybe some volleying attached to it. A lot of serve and volley tactics have been used by a bunch of players in this event. Very difficult to break, from one takeaway I've had from the tournament so far. A lot of easy holds, a lot of serve and volley, and it does seem like the court speeds of Montpellier make it very difficult to actually break serve in the tournament. So based on that, I do think I am going to go with the over in this one. 22.5, I think, is a pretty low number for two guys that have served well. Kovacevic, though, has really not faced many break points recently. In fact, Kovacevic has not gotten broken in each of the last 2 matches. Rublev has not been broken in the entire event. Once again, misleading because it's only 3 sets, but still. Point is, both guys have served well. I can see some holds here, maybe a breaker as well in here. Give me the over, though, for games. I think that it makes sense that the straight set win for Rublev and Kovacevic to win a set are priced the same. So I am going to go with the over in games instead. You might get a breaker and a 6-4 in there. That's possible, but give me the over in this one as my favorite play. Think Rublev should win, though, based on the overall matchup. I think that Kovacevic will make it interesting for a bit, but Rublev, I think, will be able to get on the offensive, and unlike Bublik, will not be punting away free points on the serve, or even just based on lackluster effort. Give Rublev to look sharp eventually and to find a way to win this, maybe in 3, but I think it's going to be a close matchup, should be fun. So my pick for the actual matches on Friday, for Friday night, for the Saturday matches, I'm going to go with Felix, and I'm going to go with Rublev to win, which would be good for us, by the way, because a reminder, for the updated outrights for Montpellier, we did lose Bublik at 12-1. However, we do have a lot of guys left for the actual event. Ended up losing Bublik at 12-1. We still have Felix, though, at 440, and we have Rublev at 350. Did not go for any long shots in the event, and so far it seems like that was a decent idea by us. It's actually funny, because Kovacevic we couldn't even take. Because when we did record the show, qualifying was still happening, so there was no line on Kovacevic. So we picked 2 of the best guys we could have possibly taken, and hopefully one of them does win the thing, but we are picking a head-to-head matchup between 2 outrights. Hopefully that's what happens in the actual Saturday matches. Now, checking the comment section quickly. I see Corey talking about how I was DGen betting in college. Yes, I was. I bet in high school, actually. If you want to go way back. Shout out to 5 Dimes back in the day. Asking, though, Sean, because he was on Trotter in the in Challengers. I don't dabble that much in Challengers. I probably should look into it more just to find some up-and-comers that you could find for good prices. But one thing I noticed about Challengers, no lead is safe. I don't want to compare it to WTA tennis, but it really feels like any actual break of serve is almost irrelevant at times because everybody just mentally collapses in challenger events. Maybe you've noticed that too. But challengers are just absolute circuses at times, and it's kind of why I stay away from it. I don't see enough guys that are reliable enough for me to back on a regular basis. But if you do want to bet on it while you're at work, I don't hate that idea. Once again, I think that it's a decent option if you're looking to kill some time. I did that in class when I was bored, so it made sense there. But point is, for challengers, I don't really follow it that much, but I follow it in passing. If there's a guy that I say I notice, maybe Tomic comes back, Basilashvili regains form, you can find some angles. I just don't really focus that much on it. But either way, I see Leonard praising the picks here on the show. Yeah, thank you for once again stopping by, Leonard. Thank you for commenting. Hopefully you do enjoy the show. Anyway, time for the Lock and Dog picks for Saturday. For that, though, want to remind once again that we are brought to you by McFantasy because they have a pick'em, once again, I'd say menu that has a lot of options on it. They have a lot of ways to make money easily with Profit Boost and Give Me Pick'ems. You have the NFL, college, basketball, MMA, NBA, NASCAR, tennis, and more. If you want to bet breaks of serve, or if you want to go for once again, some potential aces, they have those options for you. So you can definitely use that for an entry if you do want to try out tennis for a player perspective. A reminder that you can also use specials and boosts on Netflix entries. For my entry, I want to go with the actual play in the Super Bowl. Give me the higher half a touchdown for Jalen Hurts in that game. Reminder that when you do sign up for your new account, use the promo code SGPN to claim especially in first-time deposit offer up to 1K bonus cash on fantasy promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. A reminder that Rhythm can help you build betting miles in seconds, whether you want to once again experiment or let Rhythm do it for you. But if you're experienced or whether you're a novice, you can still try it out. Rhythm is very easy to use. So once again, copy one from the leaderboard. You could build your own model or let Rhythm build one for you. Decent amount of sports options as well you can choose from. They have college basketball, they have the NFL, they have props as well for the NBA. Rhythm has it all. You can also try it out for free for a week using the link sportscampus.com to Rhythm, sportscampus.com, RATHMM. Welcome back, everyone, to the Tennis Game Podcast. Just finished previewing the semifinal matches here in Montpellier. Time for the Lock and Dog picks. Now, for the Lock and Dog, spoiler, pretty degen market. However, it is pretty widely accessible. I saw this on Caesars, I saw it on BetMGM, and I saw it on DraftKings. The best price is on DraftKings. I'm going to go to, once again, a market that I'm going to actually do the same market on both plays. So for the actual Lock and Dog, I'm going to go to the first 4 games in the first set, and I am going to go with the 2-2. Now, for the lock, I'm going to go with Kovacevic and Rublev. I'm going to go with the first 4 games, 2-2 at minus 130. So once again, if you get 2 holds from each guy, you win. That's kind of how it goes, or maybe you get alternating breaks. Point is, if it's 2-2 in the first set, you win. Same bet, minus 190 on BetMGM. You're saving 60 cents by shopping around, which is a great deal. Caesars was, I think, minus 175. Rublev, though, has not been broken yet. Kovacevic has not been broken in 2 straight matches. Breaking has been very difficult so far in the event with the fast-paced courts and with the constant, I'd say, serve and volley approaches from Kovacevic as well. I think you're going to see holds early on. I think that Rublev might break eventually. But once again, 2 holds apiece in an event with, I'd say, minimal number of breaks throughout the entire event. I think it's a great price at minus 130. Rublev is a good server. Kovacevic has definitely worked on that area, and I do like his overall, I'd say, combo game with the serve out wide with either the forehand winner or even coming to the net. But I like the overall holds here early on. Give me the first 4 games 2-2 at minus 130 on DraftKings, my lock. For my dog, same prop to the other matchup. Give me De Jong and Felix, first 4 games, 2-2 as well at plus 110. DraftKings went rogue. DraftKings has insane pricing in this prop market, which I'm going to have to keep exploring. The point is, I saw the same bet available at around minus 130 on BetMGM. It was like minus 120 on Caesars. It was available at plus 110. So I'll take it on DraftKings. De Jong has not been broken in 2 of his last 3 matches, and I do think that he's serving well in the event. Felix, though, has faced 1 break point in the entire tournament, so I think Felix is serving well, too. No break points against Boo. Saw De Jong have no break points against Griekspoor for the first 10 return games of that matchup. So I think Felix should hold easily in his 2 games. I think De Jong can find a way to sneak across 2 holds. But plus 110, once again, same argument. It's very tough to break in Montpellier. The court speeds are very fast, and I do think that Griekspoor showed that De Jong's return game is not great. Having said that, De Jong was very mentally tough. He found ways to get by against Griekspoor. I think Felix will eventually break in the first set, but I think the first 2 service games, you might get some, I'd say, I don't want to say rust, but some adjustment period for both guys to actually make some tweaks to where they should be returning in terms of position or what the go-to move is for the opposition. But 2-2, I think it's a great deal here at plus 110. Give me the same prop market for the Lock and Dog picks. Once again, pretty degen. Apologies if it's not available on your book, but it's available on 3 major books: Caesars, you have BetMGM and DraftKings. So use DraftKings for this market. So once again, the plays here for the Saturday card, the lock's going to be on Kovacevic Rublev. First 4 games of the first set, 2-2 at -130. For the dog, I am going to go with the same market. De Jong and Felix, first 4 games of the first set, 2-2 at +110. That's going to wrap it up for this episode of My Back once again for the final here in Montpellier. And until next time, find me on Twitter, Reichel Radio. A reminder, we're also available on Spotify or Apple. And a reminder, you can also leave a rating and a review on Spotify or Apple. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not done so already. And until next time, good luck to all of you and all of your bets. Bye, everyone.